Hello and welcome to Hobby Vlog number 174. Now, it's been a good week, but it's ended up at the very busy end of the week as Angela's been away for various reasons, and so I'm home alone with Rosie, and that means that basically for the last 3 days I've had no time at all to myself to do anything really. I've managed to get a little bit of hobbying in with her, as you'll see towards the end of the video, but yeah, it's just not possible to hobby when you're looking after a 4-year-old, which is a shame, but also it's been mostly fun, mostly. I'm sure parents of 4-year-olds will understand what I mean, but yeah, it's been a good time. Anyway, I have managed to get some time now. It's Saturday evening, she's snoring away, so I'm able to get a little bit of time to edit the vlog and get the vlog published for tomorrow, so I'm pleased that that's managed to happen at least, but there's going to be another couple of days yet until, so Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. I'm not going to be able to do very much either because that's when Angela gets back. So yeah, the joys of parenting. But anyway, I have got a fair bit done. I've started a number of new projects, quite a lot of SBG stuff going on. So I really hope you enjoy the video. Do let me know what you think in the comments below. I do reply to every single one of them. Don't be shy. I'll stop rambling now. Thanks for watching and I'll see you again at the end. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do a basic bit of painting on this tree. Just put some brown on it and then probably dry brush it with some greys and greens and what have you. Just before I glue it on. I was just about to glue it on and actually started making a clip saying I was going to, and then I realised that it could be a bit annoying to paint some of this when it's in place. So yeah, I'll bring it along for all of the painting I think. I'm just going to slap this brown over it. I'll wait for it to dry on this side and then paint the other side. Probably take a couple of coats to get it done. I want this to be a dead tree, so this kind of grey brown is going to be perfect for me. And then I'll stick it in place. So yeah, just a very quick basic paint job. It's not gonna take very long to do this. So I'll bring back when I get to the next stage. As I say, probably do a couple of coats of this. I'm gonna decide on or start working on the next colours. Then I'll start filming again. But it shouldn't take too long. Hi, so this is something that I've wanted to build for quite a long time. I think I might even have half or part of one that I bought in a stash from eBay, and it never didn't have all the parts. This is the Gondor Battle Cry Trebuchet. So let's have a look and see what's in the box. And then what I'll do is I'll wash all the parts and then I'll put it together, and I'll probably do a bit more on camera of the assembly than I normally would. So this is fine cast, so hopefully it'll be okay. I normally have quite good luck with fine cast. There are my there's some of the other more of the parts. So you can see all the parts here. You have three crew to run it, operate it, and then yeah, I'm not sure how it all goes together. We'll have to have a look at the instructions, which are suitably terrible, as you can see. So that looks like that's the base. You've got the two sides. You've got some we haven't got a base. I haven't got a base for it. It doesn't come with a base, but hopefully it will stand up on its own, and then maybe I can base it if I want to or not. I'm not sure if people base it. I'll have to look that up. But yeah, so I'm going to get this assembled. I'll put this first of all. I'm going to scrub this hot sensitive water. The reason I do this is to remove all of the release agent, because when the resin is poured into the cast, it needs to not stick to the cast, and so they put greasy kind of like release agent on that, and that will stop your glue from sticking. So if you could not do that. I know a lot of people that go, well, why do you bother? But the first time it doesn't work, and your paint starts falling off, that's when you'll wish you'd washed them. So in the hot soap for them right now for me, let them dry, and then I'll come back and we'll start to assemble. I'm very excited about this. As I said, I've wanted to make this for quite a long time. On my OV10, it's going okay. It was going better than it is now I've managed to get the fuselage around the cockpit, which I'm pleased about, but in doing so I managed to snap off one of these really fine little bits at the front here, which actually I think is part of the wheels, part of the undercarriage, which is a shame. So I'm just going to carry on anyway. Hopefully it's not going to be too much of a tragedy. I'm also a little bit aware that I think it's a bit hard to show, it's a bit hard for it to get into focus, but I think I've made a bit of a mistake. If I move that here, a bit of a mistake you can see there, just where this side bit of the side panel should have gone a bit further back. But I don't see how it could have gone further back, so I don't know what I've done wrong there, but certainly it's not slotting in to the side of the fuselage, so I can foresee that causing me pain as well. But we shall see. I'm going to leave that. I've got the clamps on it to hold it. They're working really well, so I'm going to leave the clamps on for a little bit more just to let it set, and then I'll move on with the next steps. But I thought I'd just show that. The fine bit that's snapped off is the worst part, and I've looked and looked and looked and looked and looked, and I can't find it anywhere. I will keep looking, but I very much doubt I'll find it because it's very, very tiny. So I'm probably going to end up having to, I don't know, I'm not sure. I'll cross that bridge and we'll discuss that together. But yeah, it's coming on. I'm still impressed with the kit. I do think that little fine bit of the undercarriage probably shouldn't have been connected how it is. You probably should have had to add it in after you've done everything else, because having it dangling out the bottom there, I'm certainly way too clumsy for that, and I did really well to keep it as long as I did, but yeah, it was impossible. I've no idea actually when it snapped. It was there, and then 1 minute it wasn't, which is really annoying. This is actually the second time I've worked with Rosie and Gaffer on Rosie's hobbit hole, which I made her for her first birthday, which is on her wall in her playroom, and you can see the videos of that if you go looking back through my back catalogue. I painted these up, but I did buy 2 packs, and now it's time for me to assemble and paint for the actual game Rosie Cotton and Gaffer Gamgee, which is pretty cool. So I'm going to get them washed. As I always say, that's just to remove any mould release agent that could still be on the kits, so that when I come to paint them, the paint doesn't fall off. These are fine cast, but that's all good. Are they fine cast, or are they? No, they're forge rolled. I think they're forge rolled, but that's still good. Yeah, I'll get them washed up. Yeah, forge rolled. I'll get them washed up and then get them painted and show you what they look like. Probably not going to get very much on camera of this, but I'll show you what they look like when they're done. They're very, very simple, as there's no assembly required at all. Right, so why have one when you can have 2? The other Middle-earth SBG project which I'm about to start is the Dwarf Ballista, and I've bought a couple, so I'm going to have 2. These will probably more be used by Angela, who loves playing dwarves, yeah, I love them. I've played against them, and they were a lot of fun to play against, so I picked up a couple, and yeah, they're here. They arrived quite recently, so I'm going to get those washed again, just to remove the mould release agent, and I will come back once that's done and when I'm about to put them together to show you how I go about assembling them. So I might assemble one and then assemble the second one on camera, showing any things that I found difficult during the first time, or something like that. We'll find out. But anyway, so that's really cool. Going to get those assembled and painted up, and that'll be another thing to put onto my list for projects that I completed this year, which is going really well so far. Well, I managed to get the witch on Frog painted up, and I'm pretty happy with that. Nice purple hat with a little bit of green detailing to go with the green eyes. I might do some more on the eyes. I was thinking about doing it as a hypno frog, so I might get a fine liner out and fine line some on the eyes. But quite a simple paint job, because the fun part of this is going to be, as I always say, in the basing. So I don't actually have a base in hand for this, for what I want to do. So I'm going to have to go to the shop and see if I can find a chopping board, because that's what this is going on, a chopping board, which will be suitable for my idea. But yeah, managed to get it painted. Pretty happy with that. That can go into a little bit of storage until I get the correct base. So Rosie and the old Gaffer are washed and dry. And I lied, there is actually some assembly to do on these. I'd forgotten. I now remember quite clearly converting Rosie, because yeah, we didn't want her to be holding the babe in arms. So yeah, so we've got the shovel and his foot. That's Gaffer's shovel and foot, which is gonna go on the bottom there. And yeah, we've got like some arms and what have you to put on. So that there is Rosie's, that's gaffers, I think, and those are Rosies. I'm not sure anyway. So there is some assembly to do on these. So I'm going to get that done now, and then I'll show you what it looks like when that's assembled. I'm not going to film me assembling it because I'm going to probably fumble around a bit, but I'll let you know how it goes, and then we can get them primed and painted. So that's pretty cool. Well, this Rosie assembly is going very, very badly. The arms have broken, and I just spoinged this bit right across the room. I've been on my hands and knees looking for it, and I found it actually stuck to my trousers because it had super glue on it, and it stuck to my trousers. So there's a big thumbs up for the luck. So hopefully I'm going to be able to recover this now. But that was really annoying. Don't know how it broke. Don't know why it broke, but it did, and then it just went spoing. So anyway, very annoying, but going to get there. Gaffer's looking good though. Done the hard part, which is the shovel and the arm. So I've just got the other arm to put on him, so that's going all right. But yeah, as my daughter as well, Rosie has proven to be very stubborn. Well, I've washed these now, and they're all now dry. It's actually been a few days. Been very busy. So what I'm going to do first of all is look to clean up any flash and remove anything like you can see on the side of that. I need to remember to make sure I'm in shot. So just making use of some snips to remove stuff which we don't need, like this. And then once you've cut those off, make use of a sharp knife just to take the final bits and what have you off, so you end up with a relatively nice clean edge. So I'm going to do that on this, and I'm trying to work out in which order one should do this. I believe that part there is glued in the middle of these parts here, so that might be the first thing that I do. So let's do that before I do any cleaning up, because I'll do that off camera. So the first thing is we're going to chop these two areas off, these two boxes off, the two sides of the box, and clean them up. So let me just get that done. So a lot of people really massively criticise Finecast, and there can be some reasons for it. It's easy to warp and stuff like that. But in terms of working with, yes, there's a lot of gates, but the material is so easy to clean up that I really don't mind it. I know a lot of people really hate it, but for me, it's easier to work with the metal. Much as I like metal, it's a lot easier to work with. One of the problems I have with these kits, and you'll see more of that in another clip, is sometimes it's hard to know what to keep and what not to keep. So in this case, once I've finished cutting this out, I'll show you. Do we keep those bits on the bottom? Oh, it's not really focusing, sorry. There we are, I managed to get a shot there. Do we keep those bits on the bottom, or do we not? Or do we just not care? It's just a bit odd to me. It's a bit unclear. I think we don't keep those bits on the bottom. And that's just a problem of how good the instructions are, the instruction pictures are. The problem is once you've cut it off, as again you'll see in another clip, I'm foreshadowing here. Look forward to that one. I did a silly. But yeah, once you've clipped them off, you're kind of out of luck. But anyway, I believe that goes in there, and that goes over the top like that. So that kind of glues together. And then, see, this is the problem with Finecast. I like how easy it is to work with, but then this is actually quite badly warped, which is going to make it a bit difficult to glue together, and potentially mean for some filling to be done. If we have a look on the top of that, if I can get that to focus. Come on, there we are. You can see that it's a bit warped just at these edges. Right, so that's cut out. So what I'm going to do now is use super glue to glue them together, and hopefully I might need some warm water to unwarp them. But that's the counterweight, which then goes between there, I believe. Yep, and that slides in between there and is glued in place. Okay, so I'll get this glued together. I'll stop rambling, and I'll also, while I'm off camera, clean up a load more parts, and then I'll come back when I'm ready to do the next section and show you how what the next bit to glue together is. But I think counterweight into the whatever they're going to call it, into the arm or whatever, that's going to be what I'm going to do first. So I've just talked all that, which I will leave in the kin, but speed up, and I've realised that the microphone had turned itself off. Hopefully it's not running out of battery, which it does sometimes. But anyway, so what I've done is I've managed to glue in place the side. I'm going to do one side only because, as you saw in the speeded up bit, this goes in between, and there's various other bits and pieces that go between the two sides of the frame. So I'm going to glue this one in place and come back a bit later because I'm very busy, and I'll do the next step a bit later on today. But yeah, that's coming together nicely already. I've got these the right way round. You need to pay attention to where this little kind of like extra bit is. The arrow is towards the front, and so the counterweight is towards the front, and the actual throwing thing, which is here, is going to be at the back. So you just need to pay attention to make sure you get it all lined up. Anyway, but I'm not going to glue this side on yet because I'm going to need to get everything in the middle and then glue that on last, I think. Or not last, but once I've got everything in the middle, make sure there's nothing that goes between, because I think that there might be another thing that goes between. I'm not sure. There's a hole that looks like it's for something to go into. So we'll find out about that. But yeah, cool. I will be back shortly. That was a bit rambly, and sorry for the microphone fail. Well, I've been able to get a little bit of time in on this, and this is working quite well. It's going to be quite fun to try and get this to be see-through again, which obviously I need it to be see-through because I put lots of details at the front of the lake to see. But I'm managing to get the cardboard off the base off with my sander. And you can see actually that there's actually sand, still just stuff that's just stuck to it. It's making a right mess. But what I thought I'd do quickly is put some music on and show you how it's going with in terms of how fast it's going, because it's much faster with this more powerful sander than with the other one I was doing. So I've got my mask because it's very dusty and horrible. So I'm just going to zoom in on the edge of the of where I'm sanding. And then I'll put some music on because it's a horrible sound, and you can see how that works, how that looks. So that really does make an unholy mess. Look at all the dust that's on me, and that's why I've been wearing that mask. You don't want that going in your lungs. But it's making progress. I actually slipped a little bit and did a little bit too much grinding in one area, so I've got a little bit of a dip, which is a shame. But live and learn. I mean, I'm never going to do a resin pour this epic again, I don't think. But if I do resin pours, which I've got plans for, then I'll be making sure that, first of all, I use a non-porous material for my dam, and secondly, I don't leave it on for this long. But anyway, so it's going to be able to come off. I'll be able to get all the wood off, as you can see, and then I'll come along with a smaller sag grit and burnish it. It's going to take ages, so So yeah, it's going to be a while yet before this is finished, but at least I know now that I'm going to be able to take this off, and then all I need to do is polish it to get it to look good. But yeah, getting there. What an idiot I am for using the incorrect dam on this paw. Another little delivery. First of all, my liquid mask arrived, so that's really cool. First of all, I'm going to be using that on my Blackbird. So now that's here, I'm going to be able to paint the Blackbird, which is good. The second thing that arrived is Station Fall, which, as you can see, I've opened, but I haven't really looked at. So let's have a quick look. We have some 3D figurines. They're pretty cool. I'm not going to take this out of its wrap yet, because when I do, I want to do a proper unboxing video. We're just going to have a look, see what comes in. We have a character dossier, which appears to be several books, so that's good. And then we have the main box. Like I say, I'll do a proper unboxing another time. What is Station Fall? Well, imagine that a dozen or so random humans, robots, and none of the aboves, each with their own abilities, goals, and secret relationships, have been turned loose on a space station that is going to be incinerated upon its inevitable re-entry into Earth's atmosphere. Players 1 to 9. So I'll obviously be playing this solo when I get round to it, but it goes onto the pile, doesn't it, frankly, sadly. But that arrived, so that's cool. Pretty happy that that's here, and I will do a proper unboxing, and I'll probably paint these up as well relatively soon. Because I'm trying to get things done. That will give me a really cool batch of models to paint and enjoy looking at that are a little bit different to what the style I normally paint. So yeah, I'll try and get an unboxing video out pretty soon on this, and then get these painted up. But yeah, a couple of little deliveries, liquid mask and Station Fall. I've actually done that just with one coat, and it's turned out alright. So what I'm going to do now, I've got another couple of colours. Got like a creamy colour and a beigey colour. And I'm just going to add some interest to the trunk with these. And what I'll probably do is then blend it in later with another darker over the top, a thin darker one. I'm doing this as a dead tree, so unfortunately someone commented actually on the last video that I didn't put texture in the bark, and it's true, I forgot. So this will give me a bit of fake texture, which if I blend over the top of it, like I say, it will tie it together quite nicely. So don't worry about how stark it looks at the moment. So I'm going to get that done, let that dry, and then I will come back and show what it looks like when I'm doing the next layer. So yeah, just give it a little bit of a highlight in places like that. So I'm glad that I did these in 2 steps, because I did quite royally make a mistake on the actual machine. If we have a look at this sprue here, you can see these 2 sections out here, and I misunderstood, thought that was just part of the surround, and chopped them off. So I've made it so it looks like it's pulled back. I just cut another couple of bits of sprue and shaped them roughly right, so it'll probably be alright once it's painted. But yeah, if you're cutting this out, you do need these 2 bits on the side. But other than that, it's super easy to put together, so I'm not going to film it doing that. Just make sure that you don't chop these the arms off of your what's it, otherwise you'll be annoyed like I was last night. So yeah, so I'm going to get that cut up now and stuck together, glued together, put on the bases and primed, and then we'll get them painted up. Should be pretty easy painting. They're pretty much wooden and metal. So yeah, I'll show what it looks like when they're all made, and then we'll have a look at painting them. As part of this push to finish up lots of miniatures this year while I'm painting, and just also clear up my backlog, I have these awesome sculpts, which I was about to glue onto these base, but I'm not going to actually. I have these 2 dogs, I have this librarian person and a assassin. These are all these are all old models that have been in my backlog and partially painted actually, probably for a couple of years. I think they're from Reaper. I think they're all Reaper models. So what I was about to say was I was going to glue these to the base, but they actually have a different size, and they're not going to be used particularly for models that need to have a round base, I don't think, so I might just not bother gluing them in. But I'm going to go about basing these now, and then there'll be 4 more models finished for the year, which is pretty cool. I'm actually starting to get to the bottom of a pile of miniatures that have been sat behind my painting bench for ages. There are still quite a lot there, but really seeing a good amount of progress through them, which is very, very satisfying. So I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to base. I think this one might be based as if outside, but this one here, she is stood inside. So I'm starting to wish that I'd not glued her down yet to a base, because I could have put some wooden boards that she's stood on. And as it is with the pudding base, that's going to be a little bit difficult. So kind of a think about that one. These ones I'll just use, I'll paint the bases brown, and or just use some of the Luke's basing stuff. And then they'll be done. So I'm not going to film it because I do it over and over again, just use the basing material with his fast dry glue. So these 3 will be easy. This one I'm going to think about for a little bit longer. I've managed to get these 2 assembled. I did go ahead and drill a hole in the bottom, as you can see. There's a 2mm hole. I paid attention to where the hole was positioned when you look on the website, so hopefully I've got them right. So what I'm going to do now is prime these and paint these. So like I said, I might bring the camera along for painting these, I might not. I'm not a great painter and I get quite stressed when I'm filming myself, but I might try and do a little bit, or maybe I'll just try and do some clips to talk about the colours I've used, which takes some of the pressure off me. But anyway, pretty happy with these. I'm very excited actually to start assembling some more, but I'm going to temper my enthusiasm and finish these, get some practice, and then I'll pick up quite a few of these, then I'll start painting some more. But anyway, they've come out really nicely. They go together like a dream. They're very nicely printed and just beautiful. I mean, amazing quality. Highly recommend if you want to get something really cool to paint. But anyway, I'm going to prime these now, and I will bring you along through the painting, at least, even if not for the painting. I've just had a few minutes to have a look at this, and I've been playing around with the order in which things need to be assembled. And I'm also staring at this piece here and wondering whether that is a bit of extra sprue that needs to be cut off or not. I'm thinking it is, but this is one of the issues with Finecast, is it's difficult to know. However, the next thing that I think you're going to want to glue on is going to be that piece there, because after that you start to assemble. That's right around here. Start to put the ropes in. It's hard for you to see. It's been hard to get this angle in right. So that kind of slots in like that, in there, and matches up. And then the actual trebuchet thing slides in and actually balances on top of this cross piece as well, which is again hard to show, but it does something like that. There we are. So I think what I need to do is glue this piece in here, which I'm going to do, and I'm an hour about whether I'm going to cut that tab off. And the other thing that is going to happen is these side pieces go on, so that is something else that I can do now. So that goes there, and then that drops into that little hole at the bottom. So I'm going to glue that side piece in. I'm an hour about whether I'm going to take that thing off. I think I do. I can't see it anywhere in the pictures, but the pictures are rubbish, so I think I'm just going to cut it off and then glue that across. So the thing to pay attention here is which way around it goes. So I've got the arrow to the back, which means that the short side will go on the left, so it goes that way around. Anyway, I'm going to get that done. I'm going to bring you back for the next step, which will be shortly. Not very long at all. Just noticed that my middle thing hasn't glued in the right place. You have to get a little bit of a fill on that. This isn't quite square, but it'll be okay. It doesn't matter. A little bit of filler will be fine on that. All right, let's see if this is going to work. If not, I suppose all I'll end up doing is painting over the top of the stripes I did earlier and I'm to start again. Anyway, so I'm going to get a little bit more water to kind of, yeah, that's a little bit thick. There we are. There we are. We want it to just show through. Like so. So I'm going to need to really heavily water my brush down to not overpaint. But that's starting to show the effect I was hoping. So that's good. And you can see that it's just adding that little bit of depth, that little bit of interest, while not being too over the top, which it was before I started doing the second coat. So that's worked. Hey, never certain one of my ideas will work. Anyway, I will now leave that side to dry, and then when it's dried I will turn it over and we'll paint the bottom. We'll paint the other side in the same way, very, very watered down, just to kind of give depth and interest to the tree, which I forgot to put. As I said, I forgot to put texture on. Anyway, there we are. Good. Well, hey. Right, so I printed out Rosie's garage, and what Rosie is doing is she is colouring it in, aren't you, love? Yeah. Yeah. And then when that's done, what we'll do is we will laminate. I'll cut it out and we'll laminate it. Look at how closely she stays in the lines. We'll laminate it, and then I will stick that to some cardboard backing, and then we'll mount that on the garage, and then your garage will be done. So, yeah, gonna have fun colouring that in? Yeah. Good. Right, I'll show you what it looks like when it's finished. So there you are, as I say, not a huge amount of time this week, but still a good number of projects started, and I'm making some really good progress in my completion task for this year. I've actually passed 100 models while I was in February, so that's good. So getting into March, let's see how well I can do this month. I'm very much enjoying the fact that I'm not putting myself under lots of pressure to paint. I'm not getting to the painting desk as often as last year, but I knew that was going to be the case this year. But I'm still getting to the painting desk at least 2 or 3 times a week, and that's really good. And when I go, I'm painting for a bit longer than 20 minutes, so normally maybe about an hour or so. So yeah, it's kind of balancing off. Of course, another thing that was very busy, my mum actually left on the same day as Angela left, so that's why this week has just been crazy. I've been trying to spend some time with mum, and then since she's left, I've been on my own with Rosie. So yeah, been a good month, good one. I'm exhausted. I'm going to go to bed now. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. You know I do, and I appreciate all your comments. So don't be shy. Do say hello below and leave some remarks. It'd be awesome. Wrap up as I always do, and it's been over a year now, and it's just beyond belief, that really, isn't it? But if any of you out there are impacted directly or indirectly by the horrific war in Ukraine, my thoughts do go out to you and anyone you know who may be in that horrible situation. Just can't get my head around it. Completely crazy. And to everyone, please do stay healthy, stay safe, and stay well.